my name is Britnie Remer. I'm a tri-chair for the Wisconsin Poor People's Campaign. I live in Wausau, Wisconsin. I grew up in poverty, raised by an amazing single dad who I watched struggle every single day, trying to do what he thought was the right thing. I remember times when I felt frustrated, embarrassed, and angry at him because I thought he was just making the wrong choices, and I knew that it would be different for me. But once I hit 17 or 18, I started to realize that this was not the case at all, and that the hardships I watched my dad endure were not self-inflicted. Now at 35 years old, I have spent all of my adult life working low-wage jobs. From the ages of 18 to 26, I worked in the service and hospitality industries, where most tipped positions are paid a sub-minimum wage. For several years, I held 2 jobs working 70 plus hours per week while going to school full time, and still barely made enough to cover my basic needs, let alone any type of emergency. And that was just for one person. I can speak firsthand about the impossible task of making it to the ballot box when you have to be at one job by 7 a.m. and once your shift is done, go straight to the next for another 8 hours. In the small city where I currently live, most of the population experience similar barriers and more. Many people rely on our already inadequate public transit, yet the buses stop running at 6:30 p.m., a full hour and a half before polling places close. Additionally, the routes do not come even close to the only DMV in the area, making attaining a valid ID extremely difficult, disproportionately affecting poor, low-income, elderly, and disabled community members. This part of the state is also very rural, so the internet is overpriced, unreliable, and all too often unavailable, which creates chaos and confusion when polling places are moved and last-minute changes are made, like we saw happen across the country in 2020. Expanding voting access would ensure that more, not all, but more of the 2.1 million eligible low-income voters in Wisconsin would have their voices heard. And as Dr. King said, of the millions of poor and dispossessed in this country, if they can be helped to take action together, they will do so with a freedom and a power that will be a new, unsettling force in our complacent national life. Thank you.
We welcome you to the launch of the Mass Poor People's Low-Wage Assembly and Moral March on Washington, D.C., June 18, 2022.
And we need to do it with the biggest actions possible.
Because we know the only scarcity is the moral will to do what's right.
Veterans across this nation say enough is enough.
My voice is just as valuable as anyone else's.
We need the third Reconstruction.
We have an immoral system run by immoral people.
But together we fight.
And we become an agent of change.
We're rising up to demonstrate the compelling power that we, poor and low-income people, have to reconstruct society from the bottom up. It's time for a change!
We are people of resilience.